Hi, good morning to everybody. Very happy to meet you. Now, I'm going to tell you how to speak correct English. I shall give you more than 10 principles to speak correct English. What do we do to speak correct English? How can we speak correct English? Anyone can speak English with anyone, but I request you to have correct usage with correct tones, correct instructions like this. Now, I begin the 10 points which are very important to speak correct English. What are the points which I am going to share with you to speak correct English? One is choose your subject that you like. Choose subject that you like. Yeah. So whatever the subject you like, you choose, then you must like it. If you like the subject, you will pick up the structure, tone, ideas from your reading. Suppose when you read anything without your interest, you never pick up the tones, you never pick up the structure, you will not pick up the ideas from your reading. Whatever I read, that I must like. If I like whatever I read, I can pick up the structure, tone, ideas, subject, everything. Ultimately, my English will be useful to understand the subjects. So we should read whatever we like. That's very, very important. So if I speak good English, I must like it. If I don't understand what I'm speaking, then I should not speak. I should understand what I'm speaking, how I'm speaking. So am I speaking correct English? Am I speaking wrong English? I have to ask myself. Now, choose subject that you like, that will pick up your tones, structure, ideas from your readings. That's very, very important for a speaker. Second one is listen to talk radios. Very important. Audio books. It's good listening practice. So what we do, we first read what you like. First point is over. Second point, it is very important to speak superb English, flawless English. We have to listen to talk radios and audios book. It's good for listening practice. The more you listen, the more you learn. The more you learn, the more you talk. The more you talk, the more you learn. If you stop listening, you never learn. If you never learn, you never talk. If you never talk, you never learn. So what do? You have to listen. Listening is good practice. When you see radios, news, we have to listen. When you see audio books, we have to listen. When someone speaks, we have to listen. We have to listen without any monotonous. Listening is a nice practice. Most of the people are not listening. They avoid listening. When you listen, you speak superb English. 50% of the communication is over when you listen and speak. When you fail to listen, we should not think that why do we listen. We should not think like that. We think that it is a good and great opportunity for us to learn and acquire knowledge from the speaker. So that what can we do? What we have to do? We have to listen. By listening we learn. By learning we talk. By talking we can interact. By interacting we can become something great. We have to listen. Then third point which I am going to tell you, read out loud. Whatever we read, no, we have to read loudly. with intonation. Even your dog or cat is only one listening. So loud speaking is more important. Loud reading is more important. You may not speak loudly, but you have to read loudly. That's very essential for a good speaker. What we do when we read, we are not reading loudly. We are always speaking we are always reading for ourselves. We should not read for ourselves. We have to read for our good intonation. Yeah, everyone should listen. In such a way we have to read. That's very essential. Now, you study the creation of work using proper English. Creation of work. Shakespeare work, or any Ben Jonson work, any writer's work. What we have to do, we have to study to get the inspiration. So suppose I go and study the work of Shakespeare, I come to know new words, new sentences. And when I go and study the work of Ben Jonson, I come to know new words, new sentence, new style, new expression. When I go and study the work of John Keats, I understand the new style, new expression, new intonation, new ideas. When I study the work of William Wordsworth, I study the new method of expression. We are all similar, but our ideas are not similar. Our thoughts are not similar. Our intonation are not similar. So what we do, we have to study the creation of word using proper English. That's very important. So what makes a good speech so persuasive? What makes a good speech so persuasive? Yeah. If you speak, it will be persuasive. Yeah. You speak like that. Fourth one, build your vocabulary. How it is possible? So reading is the best way to do that. Without reading, we cannot build the vocabulary. Vocabulary is the backbone of a language. The more vocabulary you have, the more language you can speak out. If you don't have sufficient vocabulary, you cannot speak out the language confidently. Suppose you have 100 rupees in your pocket, you go to a hotel where you are in need of 200 rupees to fulfill your favorite dishes. Will you be there? You won't have the confidence because you are in need of 200 rupees, but you have only 100 rupees. Like that, if you speak good English, you must have proper vocabulary, you must have sufficient vocabulary, is very important. It can be done only through reading. Reading helps you and makes you to develop your vocabulary, correct words that you don't know. Whatever the words we don't know, we have to correct the words. It's very important. We should not think that we know everything. We go on correcting the words. We go on finding the meaning for the words. But because it is very important. So browse on the dictionary, yeah. If you give me something, no. So browse on the dictionary. So by doing this, so these things will be very helpful for us to read or speak good English. Now, play with the language. Yeah. Okay, you start a fun war. Play with the language. So making fun of the language is a great way to explore it. Making fun of the language is a great way to explore it. Yeah. You just if you are having superb vocabulary, you are reading loudly, you are having good intonation, you are having good structure of ideas, you play with the language. You can play with the language. Once you become the master over the language, you can play with the language. If you are not a master of the language, you will never play with the language. Most of the people have dominated the world with language. Language played an important role in everyone's lives. So we had to play with the language, brush up of the language, brush up of the language. What is brush up of the language? Brush up means we know it already, but we have forgotten. We have to brush up the language. So brush upping of the language is very important. Get hold of copy of the William strength, the element of style. Analyze the language, understand the language, go in search of the language, go in search of the words, go in search of the sentence, go in search of the quotations, go in search of the dialogue made by the people. So brush up the language. We studied, but we have forgotten. What we do, we have to brush up the language. So by doing this, we can speak correct English. We can come to understand whether we are speaking correct English or not English. A superb English or worst English that can be understood by you when you are doing like this, when you are following these rules and regulations. Otherwise, you will never come to know what you are talking. You will never come to know how you are explaining. You will never come to know how you are expressing. That will not be highlighted, which we have to brush up our language. Practice writing. Next one is practice writing. Write for a journal. Need the writers frequently come with a whole community of editors. So we have to write more, but we are not writing, no? We are not writing. So whatever and whenever you write, don't give up writing. When you give up writing, so speaking gives you ideas, reading gives you confidence, listening gives you involvement and acquiring knowledge. Writing alone makes you a complete man. When you begin writing, you become a complete man. When you stop writing, you will never be identified by anybody in the future. The purpose of living is two things. One is to fulfill our expectations till our end of the life. The second one is, and we will be spoken by others. If you begin to write something, you will become a complete man. We register our ideas in writing. Whatever you say is not cannot become a registered. Whatever you write, it will become a registered. So we have to write more. Writing is a good practice. So we just how do we develop the writing practice? So because of writing for journals, writing for magazines, writing for email, text messages, we just refine ourselves by doing all these things. Whenever, whatever, wherever, we should write. If you write, we can explore the language. We can come to understand what kind of language we are communicating. Are we communicating properly or not? So it is understood or not. By doing this, we can understand. This is very, very important. Next point is consider your audience. Should write or speak differently depending upon your audience. Whether you write or speak, consider your audience. It's very important. If you fail to consider your audience, whatever you write or speak differently will become nihilism. Start considering your audience. You write or speak differently. Depending on having an audience in mind will help you to focus your communication. When I speak or write something differently, I should speak or write something differently depending upon my audience. I should keep the audience in mind when I speak. While I write, I should keep the audience in your mind. I should not speak for myself. I should not read for myself. I should speak and write for the audience. That's very important. No? So if I begin to speak for myself, it will not be so good. If I begin to speak for the audience, if I begin to speak right for the audience, so I will do better than previous things. So I should think that when I write, I should keep the audience in your mind. Whatever I write, whatever I speak, I should keep the audience in your mind. Having an audience in mind will help us to focus on communication. I should not write and read for myself. That should be avoided. If I begin to read and write for myself, it will not be so effective. So I have to think that I am not writing and reading for myself. I am writing and reading for the audience. Then consider your purpose. Next point. In this communication, factual or fanciful, or telling a story or arguing a point, explaining, we have to consider our purpose. What is our purpose? When I write, what should be the purpose? When I speak, what should be the purpose? My purpose and message should be conveyed. That's my purpose. Without thinking of the purpose, I should not do, I should not write. I think of the purpose. What is there behind my writing? What is there behind my speaking? I should think of it. If I think like that, I will be doing my work up to the mark. If I fail to think like that, I cannot fulfill the expectation of the people. I think that if I were in your position, if you were in a position, so if you begin to write or you begin to speak, okay, consider your purpose. That's very important. It's not for myself, it's for everyone. If you are a writer, you think like this. If I am the writer, I should think like this. Okay. It's not for me or it's not for any individual. It's for everybody. Whoever is going to write, whoever is going to speak, they should think of their purpose. They should think of their audience. That's essential. Without thinking of their audience and purpose, if I speak, if I write, that will not be so effective. No. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. We always think of mistakes when we speak or write. Why? We think of mistakes. If we commit mistakes, the people may find fault. People may criticize. People may humiliate. People will be criticizing us. So we always think of mistakes. We fear of mistakes. Most of the people are not talking, are not writing because of this problem. The problem is they have knowledge, they have good knowledge, they have super potentialities, but they don't speak, they don't write. Why? Because of the fear of mistakes. If you create or if you do any mistakes, so people will, they think of people every time. So by thinking of people, what people will think about us if we commit mistakes. So always, so language takes extraordinary amount of practice to master. Language takes extraordinary amount of practice to master. And mistakes are the part of learning process. As I have told you, language takes extraordinary amount of practice to master, And mistakes are the part of the learning process. Yeah. Without doing mistakes, I'm not telling you to commit mistakes. I'm not. It doesn't mean that I just I'm telling you to commit mistakes when you are writing or speaking. Not like that. Sometimes it happens. If we commit mistakes, what we do? Do we have fear of mistakes forever? What people will think of us if we commit mistakes? If this thinking will spoil your mind, how will you have the beautiful ideas? Extraordinary amount of practice. Language takes extraordinary amount of practice to become master of the language. Learning is a mistake is a part of the learning process. If we go on thinking of the mistake, we cannot do anything. Okay, because we just try to, by doing only we can reduce the mistakes. Without doing, we cannot reduce the mistakes. Mistakes will be there forever. If you think of the mistakes, mistakes will be there forever. Avoid thinking of the mistakes. Think that mistakes are the part of the learning process. Today I commit some mistakes. The mistakes will not be there tomorrow. Only if I make the practice. If I give up the practice, I can go on committing the mistakes forever. To reduce the mistakes, I have to make practice. Writing is a practice. Speaking is a practice. So practice makes a man perfect. Ancient people saying, old saying. I strongly believe that practice makes a man competent. Practice makes a man outstanding. Practice makes a man super. Practice makes a man smart. Practice makes a man best. Practice makes a man extraordinary, prominent figures. So most of the writers, they did practice. They were writing. They were speaking. They were not thinking of others. They were not keeping people in mind. They were keeping their intention in mind. They were writing for people. They were bringing reformation. But they were not thinking of people, what people would say if we commit mistakes. They were not thinking like that. So mistakes, don't be afraid of the mistakes. If you are afraid of the mistakes, you cannot do anything. Give up thinking of the mistakes. No. Try learning other language. So we know another language, English language. It makes conscious of the structure and grammar of your word when you learn other language. Yeah, learning is because it gives a kind of close association of other language. We learn French language, Latin language, German language. We learn. So learning is a continuous process. It is a reluctant process. So we should learn. So if you think of the mistakes, if you think of learning other languages, this will give. So I have told you some points which are very important to speak correct English. One is choose your subject that you like. Second one is listen to talk videos, audiobooks. Third one is read loudly. The fourth one is study the creation of the word. The fifth one is build your vocabulary. The sixth one is brush up your language. Seventh one is consider your audience. Eighth one is consider your purpose. Ninth one is develop your vocabulary. 10th one is don't be afraid of the mistakes. These are the beautiful points. I strongly believe that these points will be helpful for us to understand the importance of language. Without these, we cannot do anything else. I believe that most of the people believed that by adopting these are the good principles. What we need for a language? We need for a language interest. We need for language inspiration. We need for language any kind of creation of the word. We need for the language any case of creation of a vocabulary. We need for the language, we have to brush over the language. So we have to think that reading should be loud. Then we should keep the audience in our mind. And the purpose should not be forgotten by the speaker and writer. And we should not have a kind of fear, and by having fear, so we cannot do anything. We think that fear will be spoiling you forever. We have students or scholars or a teacher like me. If I have fear, what can I do? I cannot do anything with the fear. I will be thinking of fear. The fear will be killing me continuously. Finally, one day I will be dying with the fear. Yeah. Why should I have fear? The fear will be killing you. Fear will be preventing you to do anything. But by practicing, we can reduce the fear. Fear, pride or mistakes. What kind of fear is there? So we will commit mistakes. Who will be? Because people will be criticizing, people will be telling you something, people will be telling you, you are not a person, you are not fit for anything. People will be saying like that. So you should not think of the people in this regard. So people will be thinking something. Some people, great people think of ideas. Billion people think of achievements. Extraordinary people think of achievements. So great people, they always think of ideas. Billion people, they think of achievements. Outstanding people, they think of innovative ideas. So we try to become something different. Without doing anything, how do we become different? We try to become unique. That's very important. So we are here to do something for the people. That's very important. Without these, we cannot do anything. We think that why should I write? Why should I speak? If I write, people will find fault. People will say something. If I speak, people will say something. People will be saying everything till the last breath of their life. If I think of people forever, what will be the status of my life? What will be the status of your life? Okay, just respect people, love people, show concern on people, care people, show humanity on people. Don't think of people in this regard. I'm telling you always, respect people, love people, care people, show humanity on people, show kindness on people, but don't afraid of people when you write or speak. Because you should not convince yourself. So people are convincing themselves by telling like this. Most of all, everyone will not blame you, everyone will not find fault you. There are few, they will be saying about you that you are not fit for writing, you are not fit for speaking. Why do you think of those people? Think of majority of the people. What people will say you? You keep on doing work. You have taken the initiatives. Don't give up the initiatives. Once you have taken the initiatives, never give up. Continuously you do the work. If you do the work continuously, no one can prevent you in reaching the destination. So you are nearing the destination. If you think of people, you cannot go to destination. You cannot find the way to go to destination. I believe that people should stop thinking of negative people. So you only think of those people never think of you. Mistakes, it's a process. Fear, we can reduce it. We have only language, develop it. So these are the nice principles will be helpful for a speaker and writer to speak or write flawlessly. This can be done. Without this, do you think that this is going to give you a big problem for your life? Not like that. I strongly believe that these are the 10 rules and regulations. It is everyone, you are also aware of these 10 rules. Just I'm sharing with you. I have not told you anything new. It is already there in your mind. It is already there in your mind. Just I'm sharing with you. If I say it doesn't mean that I only know it. You do know it. But you are not sharing, you are not telling. Because you would have shared somewhere, you would have told someone. No. Whatever I know, I'm sharing with you so that I can explore my language. I can do something for the language. I can learn something which I have not learned so far. So I'm just writing and speaking for two reasons: to share my ideas and sharpen my knowledge. Not, it doesn't mean that I only know all these things I'm sharing with you. Not like that. Everyone knows everything. People have to share. I come forward to share. Thank you so much for your passion listening. Hope to meet you soon in my next video. Thank you.